As I mentioned in this video, we'll change some render settings to make our render faster and optimize it for rendering. So first things first, make sure to get back to the solid view. Actually, when you leave it at render view, this will use some computing power. Next thing, I'm just gonna maximize this a little bit and go to our render settings. The render engine, it is cycle as we mentioned. We need the micro displacement option, so experimental will be crucial. In case you do have a GPU, make sure to use GPU compute, but in case your computer crashes while you're rendering or it is out of memory, just change it to CPU. In my case, I will just keep it to GPU compute. For the viewport sampling and all of that, we don't need it because we will be rendering this scene. And here you will have an option called samples. And that's where it will get a little bit tricky. 128, it is actually a safe number and it is actually what I will be using. But in case your computer is a little bit slow, you can change this number, for example, to something like 64. So depending on the power of your computer, just adjust it the way I said. Other than that, I will keep the advanced the way it is. For the light path, it used to be 12, we changed it to 8, so I will keep it the way it is. Transparent, make sure it is 40, and other than that, I will keep all the other settings the way they are. I will make sure to go to my desert element, which is inside desert. Let's just select it. I will go to the modifiers tab, and right here you will have final scale render 1 pixel, viewport 8. I actually might want to change the dicing scale from 1 to a smaller number, something like 0.7, let's say, which will basically make more subdivision for my desert object, so it will look just better. Another thing that you might want to check is actually in the output properties, which is your resolution. In case your computer won't handle it, just drop this to 50%, and that way you will drop from 4K to the full HD aspect ratio. For your frame rate, make sure it is 24 FPS. For my frame range, I have a 10 seconds animation, so it goes from frame 1 to 240. For the output, we're not gonna bother a lot with it because we already set up everything we need inside of our compositor. The only thing that you might want to check is it is actually your file format. By default, we have PNG right here, which is not that practical because it will compress your files a lot. So if you want more flexibility later on when you composite your scene, you can probably use OpenEXR or OpenEXR multi-layer. In my case, I'm not gonna use any of those. I'm just gonna keep it at PNG, and just by default it will be 15%. Just drop it to 0% so we have the least amount of compression, and also make sure to have RGBA so you render also the alpha channel. That's a crucial option to check, and that's basically it for the output properties. And there is another approach that you can use, even though I don't highly recommend it, but you can do it and it will save you a lot of time, which is basically by using multiple rendering engines. For example, I want to render the dust elements using Eevee. So I will select all of those, the entire setup, render layers, dust and all of that, and I will delete it and render the elements that you want them to be rendered with cycles. And later on, reopen your file, hit Ctrl Z to restore the node setup that we deleted. And right now, delete all the other setups that you render them using cycles, and go to the render settings and change it from cycle to Eevee, and just hit render again, and this way you will only render the dust element. Check again all of your render settings, and when you're ready to go, just go to render and render animation, and Blender right now will start rendering your scene. That's it for me right now. I will keep my computer rendering, and I will see you in the next video after the rendering is finished. See you there.